I was about to record a leftover seafood boil video. Why did I pull this out of this mussel? Do y'all see that? I cannot make this shit up. I ate this like a few days ago. I was just about to eat this. That's like where I pulled it. Is that a parasite worm? That's actually so...
Hey, Shalom, brother. Shalom. This is Brother Howard of GMS Toronto coming back with another one. She better hope that's not a parasite, right? She better hope that's not a toxoplasma, right? Because parasites like that have the ability to influence the human brain, right? And they can even manipulate behavior, emotions, and even decision making. That's how powerful those little things are. Parasites are no joke, man. That's why we're supposed to avoid certain foods. That's why our people act the way that they act. Mainly the reason why our people have certain anxiety issues, anger issues, can mainly be linked to food. The majority of our people, their issues can be linked to food, the shit that they eat, that the Heavenly Father told us not to eat. The number one on the list is either seafood or pork. I don't know. It might be tied because our people love both. They love both things that we're supposed to avoid like the plague, because it is a plague. The parasite is a fucking plague. It plagues the body, right? And she's disgusted now. You were supposed to be disgusted before you ate it, because the law, right? The law of the Most High told us not to eat this type of shit. There's a reason, right? And there's parasites in the shellfish. There's parasites in the pork. One of the most deadliest parasites is in pork. Now this is the pork tapeworm, and they have it under animal. Goddamn, holy shit! It says Tania, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Forgive me if I'm not. Solium. The pork tapeworm belongs to the Cyclophilidae. I can't pronounce that. Cyclophilid cestid family, Tanilidae. It is found throughout the world and is most common in countries where pork is eaten. It is a tapeworm that uses humans as its definitive hosts and pigs and boars as the intermediate or the secondary hosts, right? Because they're not affecting the boar, they're not affecting the pig. They're parasitic to us. They're going to affect us, right? Because really and truly, we're supposed to stay away from those things. We're supposed to stay away from, we're not supposed to be eating a boar. We're not supposed to be eating the pig, right? Because they carry these different parasites, right? And they can cause cysts in the brain. Your brain can grow cysts from these things, and you wonder why our people are always being deleted from the different foods that we eat, right? Yes, us as so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, we have a spiritual issue because we're not praising, worshiping, and following Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai. But we also have an eating issue, right? And these things can cause seizures, because if you get a cyst in your brain, what do you think that's going to lead to? That's going to lead to seizures. That's going to lead to headaches. And you know who's always complaining about headaches? These women. because of the food. The food, it can cause confusion, right? So imagine you're feeding this to your children, and you're still sending your children to school, and you're wondering why your kid is only getting 40 and 30% in school, and your kid can't pass because of the food that you're feeding them, man. Shit like this causes confusion, psychosis, right? That's why our people are mad. Our people are literally lunatics, because the parasite can literally drive you crazy. Now let's see what this shit looks like. Let's look at this. Now this is a human body. This is the usual host. That's the pig. Definitive host. Infection. Right? This is how the shit looks inside your system. Look how large it grows. You don't think that's messing up your body? You don't think that's doing something to you? That's why you have so much issues, man. Probably can't shit properly. Probably can't digest food properly. That's why you're always fucking hungry. You're always hungry because the tapeworm. This shit is nasty, yo. Oh my gosh. Let's go to. Oh yeah, I remember this image. One of the brothers put it up. That friggin' ugly ass image. This one. It says microscopic image of a tapeworm wins 4th place. Look at this shit. This shit looks like like a monster. Like, what the heck? Oh my gosh. This is the shit that we're ingesting. Right? Now you people that eat the nasty shit that you eat, man. This is Leviticus chapter 11 and 7, and it reads, "And the swine, though he divide the hoof and be cloven-footed, yet he cheweth not the cud, he is unclean to you. Of their flesh shall you not eat, and their carcass shall ye not touch. They are unclean to you." We're not even supposed to be touching a pig carcass. We're not even supposed to be touching a pig carcass, and you people want to eat it, right? I keep making a statement that there are certain things that we're not allowed to do on this earth, right? And we keep breaking the laws, statutes, and commandments of living on this planet Earth. And one of those things that we're not supposed to do is eat pork, right? Pork has the different parasites in it, right? Like the one that we just saw, and also shellfish, right? The shellfish, like what you just saw that girl show on her screen, carries a parasite by the name of toxoplasma. Let's get that one. Let's see that one. Now this one is Toxoplasma gondii. It says is a species of parasitic alveolate that causes toxoplasmosis, found worldwide. T. gondii is capable of infecting virtually all warm-blooded animals, but members of the cat family are the only known definitive hosts in which the parasite may undergo sexual reproduction. That's crazy. It says, what are the symptoms of toxoplasmosis in humans? Symptoms, if they do occur, include swollen lymph glands, especially around the neck, muscle aches and pains, headache, fever, generally feeling unwell, inflammation of the lungs, inflammation of the heart muscle. What the heck? Inflammation of the eye, for example, the retina at the back of the eye. Yo, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's what you people are eating? That's crazy.
Crazy to me because I thought if you fully cooked seafood, like there would be no chance of like finding things like this. Like I thought
That's like what the people in the land of Israel say. They're just like, oh, kosher pig. You can't kosher something that the Lord has deemed to be unclean, right? So there is no proper way of cooking these things because they are unclean. No proper way of cooking them. From the Most High says it's unclean, guess what? It's unclean. And that's how small it is. Now, when it goes into a human, that shit increases. They get way bigger than that inside of a human. And they can live longer. Right? And these things can, you see how small that thing is? That shit can cause mood swings. That shit can cause anxiety. All types of weird shit. When you study the parasite, man, the parasite is a very strong thing in the body, man. That's why people have all types of different problems. A lot of people are suffering from different things because of parasites, man. Shit's crazy. Shit's nasty. Could you imagine how much of that she's eaten in her life? Could you imagine how much of that is inside of her body? Her body is probably, she's disgusting right now. Now this is Leviticus 11 and 10, and it reads, "And all that have not fins and scales in the seas and in the rivers, of all that move in the waters, and of any living thing which is in the waters, they shall be an abomination unto you." So what she's holding up, this shit, this is an abomination. That's an abomination, man. That is an abomination. And then our people are not eating things like garlic, right? Which garlic is natural anti-parasitic, right? Which actually helps boost your immune system as well. Garlic is actually really good, and I'm talking about raw garlic, just eating a clove of garlic, just like that. Pumpkin seeds, they kill intestinal parasites. Papaya seeds is really good, right? A lot of people are unable to eat it because it's kind of peppery, right? Like it's kind of hot when you eat it. There's a little bit of discomfort when you're eating it, but it's actually really, really good. Papaya seeds, man, right? Everybody should be eating papaya seeds at least once a year, right? Turmeric is good. Ginger, coconut oil, right? Coconut oil is actually really, really good. Even for oil pulling in the mouth as well, right? For you brothers that are suffering from like gingivitis and different toothaches and stuff like that. Coconut oil is good for oil pulling, kills all the germs and stuff like that. Right? So, but the majority of our people, right, they eat this shit, but they don't know how to cure themselves or to help themselves. That's why the Moabites, you'll see Chinese people, right? Chinese people, they eat all types of nasty shit. But when they eat that nasty shit, they eat it with a lot of healthy stuff as well. Right, you'll see the Asians, they love their garlic, they love their turmeric, they love a lot of healthy stuff. That's why they survive. Now, yes, the stuff that they're eating is completely bad for you, but for you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, the reason why it affects you more is because you're not just affecting your body, you're affecting your spiritual self as well. Your spirit is being affected because you're not supposed to be eating those things. You're supposed to be keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. Right? You're breaking the laws, so the Most High is going to punish you, and He's going to punish you with all types of diseases in the body. Now, this is Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 58, and this is in the NLT, and it reads, "If you refuse to obey all the words of instruction that are written in this book," right? Because these are instructions on how to live, right? We have made a blood oath, right? Through Moses, that we will keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, right? So we don't have a choice, right? These are our instructions, says, that are written in this book. And if you do not fear the glorious and awesome name of the Lord your power, Yahweh, then the Lord will overwhelm you and your children with indescribable plagues. These plagues will be intense and without relief. And I could attest that that's exactly how the Lord has cursed us. The Lord has cursed our people in a way where it's literally indescribable. That's why no other nation understands what we're going through, because what we're going through is indescribable. We can't even put it into words. We are so destroyed as a people, and it has nothing to do with the white man. It has nothing to do with the Asian man. It has nothing to do with the African man. It has everything to do with us and our disobedience. That's what it comes down to. Okay? It says, will overwhelm you and your children with indescribable plagues. These plagues will be intense and without relief, making you miserable and unbearably sick. Oh my gosh. You can't tell me that doesn't describe what you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans have been through. I know that describes what we've been through because we're still going through it. Okay? It says, he will afflict you with all the diseases of Egypt that you feared so much, and you will have no relief. The Lord will afflict you with every sickness and plague there is, even those not mentioned in this book of instruction. Right? That's what this book is. This book is a book of instruction. Every single one of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, you should be walking around with the Bible. Why? Because that is a book of instruction. As soon as your children turn 12 years old, they are now under the law of this book. There is no excuse for our children not to know these laws, statutes, and commandments, because these laws, statutes, and commandments is going to be their blessing or their curse, right? That's why when you go to Deuteronomy 28, right, and you start from verse 1, it lets you know the blessings. They're only blessings if we interact positively with the words of the Most High, righteously with the words of the Most High. We're interacting negatively, right, and wickedly with the words of the Most High. He's telling us to do something, and we are being disobedient. We are being rebellious. And because we are a rebellious people, we are being judged for our disobedience. It says, until you are destroyed, though you become as numerous as the stars in the sky, few of you will be left because you would not listen to the Lord your power. Just as the Lord has found great pleasure in causing you to prosper and multiply, the Lord will find pleasure in destroying you. Yeah, because remember, the Lord loves us. And when you love somebody, true love is punishing them, right? That's true love, all right? If you love your children, you're going to punish them when they do something wrong because you don't want them to continue to do that wrong. Somebody who doesn't love you doesn't correct you, right? Just like a friend. A friend doesn't want you going downhill and don't say anything. A friend is going to stop and reprove you. Say, hey, you're not doing what's right. Right? A friend, someone that cares about you, is going to tell you that you're not doing right, that you're doing wrong. That's what a friend is going to do. Now, this is 2 Maccabees chapter 7:1, and it reads, and it came to pass also that 7 brethren with their mother were taken and compelled by the king against the law to taste swine's flesh. Right? Going back to Ptolemy, right? Because they were doing all types of lewdness in the temples, right? It was the scribe Eleazar that first sparked this revolt, because Eleazar was an old man and he said, "Nah, I ain't gonna eat no swine's flesh." At this time, they were doing all types of abominable feasts to Bacchus in the temples, and all types of drunken revelry was happening under the Greeks, right? So it says, and it came to pass also that 7 brethren with their mother were taken and compelled by the king against the law to taste swine's flesh, and were tormented with scourges and whips. But one of them that spake first said thus, what wouldest thou ask or learn of us? We are ready to die, rather than to transgress the laws of our fathers. Then the king, being in a rage, commanded pans and cauldrons be made hot, which forthwith being heated, he commanded to cut out the tongue of him that spake first, and to cut off the utmost parts of his body, the rest of his brethren and his mother looking on. That's how you know these same Edomites were the same white people that were in America and throughout the four corners of the earth doing the wickedness that they did unto us, because that's what they used to do to us. They used to cut off our body parts, right? That's what these white people did. And you people want us to forgive them? You want us to forgive our enemies that have done this wickedness unto us? Come on, man. You people are sick. It says, now when he was thus maimed in all his members, and you think the Lord is not going to revenge this? You think the Lord is just going to let this slide? A righteous man died for keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh, and you think that the Lord is just going to forgive this? You people are sick, right? It says, now when he was thus maimed in all his members, he commanded him, being yet alive, to be brought to the fire and to be fried in a pan. Yes, you read that right. To be fried in a pan. And as the vapor of the pan was for a good space dispersed, they exhorted one another with the mother to die manfully, saying thus, the Lord Yahweh looketh upon us, and in truth hath comfort in us, as Moses in his song, which witness to their faces, declared, saying, and he shall be comforted in his servants. So when the first was dead, after this number, they brought the second to make him a mocking stock. And when they had when they had pulled off the skin of his head with the hair, they asked him, wilt thou eat before thou be punished throughout every member of thy body? This is what they're going to do to the elect men that don't take the MOTB, right? This is what's going to happen when brothers refuse the MOTB. Some brothers are going to be put to death. Know that, right? This is going to be our lot. Some of us, that's going to be our lot. It is what it is. Verse 8, but he answered in his own language and said no, right? But he answered in his own language and said no. But he answered in his own language and said no. Right? For you people that are saying, oh, you can call the Lord whatever you want to call him. No, we answer in our own language. We're going back to our ancient language, which is the Hebrew, which is the Lashon Kodash. Wherefore he also received the next torment in order as the former did. And when he was at the last gasp, he said, though like a fury take us out of this present life, but the King of the world shall raise us up, who have died for his laws. Exactly. Nothing, us perishing, us being tormented, nothing crazy is happening to us because Yahushua went through this as well. Yahushua went through this. Yahushua went through his shame before he got his fame. All right? It says, died for his laws unto everlasting life. After him was the third made a mocking stock, and when he was required, he put out his tongue, and that right soon, holding forth his hand manfully, and said courageously, these I had from heaven, and for his laws I despised them, and from him I hope to receive them again. Insomuch that the king and they that were with him marveled at the young man's courage, for that he nothing regarded the pains, meaning that he was in the spirit, right? Like when you're in that spirit, you ain't gonna feel no pain, right? You gotta you got to disconnect your mind from your body, right? But really and truly, this is not something that can be taught. This is just something that, hopefully in that day, the Lord blesses us with, that, he's going to put that spirit upon us to where we don't feel no pain. Verse 13. Now when this man was dead, also they tormented and mangled the fourth in like manner. So when he was ready to die, he said thus, it is good being put to death by men, to look for hope from Yahweh, to be raised up again by him. See, reincarnation. Reincarnation. We will be raised up again, brothers and sisters. Because remember, they were with their mom, right? And their mom was a very brave woman. So men and women, there's some good women out there, man, right? It says, as for thee, thou shalt have no resurrection to life. And meaning that they shall have no resurrection in power. But their candle will be put out after serving us for 1,000 years. These Edomites, right? You so-called white people, right? You Caucasians, you're gonna serve us for 1,000 years. Hard labor, hard fucking labor. And after those 1,000 years, your candle is gonna be put out. You should know what I mean by that. I'm not using the word deleted anymore. I'm gonna say your candle is gonna be put out. It says, verse 15, afterward they brought the fifth also and mangled him. Mangled. And brothers, look that word up. Then looked he unto the king and said, thou hast power over men. Thou art corruptible. Thou doest what thou wilt. Yet think not that our nation is forsaken of Yahweh. Exactly. We are not forsaken. That's why we're being risen up right now. We're being risen up right now through the power and spirit of the Ruach HaKodesh, through Yahweh Shai, right? Yahweh Shai already did the heavy lifting, brothers. The heavy lifting is already done. Yahweh Shai finished the mission, finished the task. What we're going through right now is nothing, right? Put in your mind that we are already in the kingdom. No one can stop the kingdom because Yahweh Shai has already won. The fight is done. Yahweh Shai is in his new body. That means when he comes back, he already won. It doesn't matter what Esau does, right? Brothers are doing lessons on Esau building his underground empire. That's good. That's where the gold is going to be stored. That's where everything is going to be stored for us. So when it's time for us to go back in power, everything is going to be preserved. We're just going to go and we're just going to take everything. Those Edomites are going to be living good. They're going to be fat. They're going to be healthy because we're going to put them right to work. They're going to be living good in the underground cities that they have built, and we're going to put them right to work. They're going to go right into slavery. All healthy and nice. They're going to be eating the best of the best. They're going to be working out. They're going to have swimming pools under there, right? Track and field. They're going to be nice and in shape. They're going to have all types of, they're going to have the best vegetables, real vegetables. They're going to be eating fruits with seeds because when we take them out of those underground cities, they're never going to eat good again in their life. I don't know what I'm going to feed my slaves, but it's going to be something like what they had our priests eating. What did they have the Haitians eating? Mud cakes. So if the Haitians can survive off of fucking mud cakes, the Edomites are going to have to survive off of that shit as well. You think you Edomites are going to be eating anything healthy, anything good, and you gave us GMOs? You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, you've been surviving off of GMOs for the past fucking 40, 50 years. And you think we're going to feed these damn devils anything good? I wouldn't give a fuck if these Edomites lived off of shit. Straight up feces. All right? It says, then looked he unto the king and said, thou hast power over men. Thou art corruptible. Thou doest what thou wilt, yet think not that our nation is forsaken of Yahweh, but abide a while and behold his great power, how he will torment thee and thy seed. After him also they brought the sixth, who being ready to die said, be not deceived without cause, for we suffered these things for ourselves, having sinned against our power. Hey, brothers, at the end of the day, no matter what we go through, right? When we're going through the ups and downs of life, the first thing you got to put in your mind is that we sinned. That's it. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. We could lose everything. It doesn't matter what we lose. We could be put to shame. Doesn't matter. Remember, we sinned. We sinned. We sinned against Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai. So everything we get, we deserve. Everything we get, we deserve. Right? We sinned against our power. Therefore, marvelous things are done unto us. But think not that thou that takest in hand to strive against Yahweh, that thou shalt escape unpunished. But the mother was marvelous above all. See, so are there good women? Hell yes. She just watched all her sons be put to death. But the mother was marvelous above all and worthy of honorable memory. For when she saw her 7 sons slain, within the space of 1 day, she bare it with a good courage, because of the hope that she had in the Lord. Yea, she exhorted every one of them in her own language, filled with courageous spirits, and stirring up her womanish thoughts with a manly stomach. She said unto them, I cannot tell how you came into my womb, for I neither gave you breath nor life, neither was it I that formed the members of every one of you, which means that she never called herself a fucking mother goddess. She wasn't in a mother goddess spirit, right? Like these different Egyptologists and these different women that think that they're mother goddess and they could, what was that shit that they used to sprout, that a woman can give birth without a man? Right? So this woman wasn't in that spirit, but doubtless the creator of the world, who formed the generations of man and found out the beginning of all things, will also of his own mercy give you breath and life again, reincarnation again. Right? So these people, these Israelites, they knew about reincarnation, and best believe these people will be honored in the kingdom. We will talk about them forever and ever and ever in the kingdom. They will be honored. All right? We're going to write them in our history books, and people are going to learn about these people, especially that woman. That's a brave woman, man. It says, and will also of his own mercy give you breath and life again, as you now regard not your own selves for his law's sake. Now Antiochus, thinking himself despised and suspecting it to be a reproachful speech, whilst the youngest was yet alive, did not only exhort him by words, but also assured him with oaths that he would make him both a rich and happy man if he would turn from the laws of his fathers, and that also he would take him for his friend and trust him with affairs. But when the young man would in no case hearken unto him, and the king called his mother and exhorted her that she would counsel the young man to save his life, and when he had exhorted her with many words, she promised him that she would counsel her son. But she, bowing herself toward him, laughing the cruel tyrant to scorn, spake in her own country language on this manner, O my son, have pity upon me that bare thee 9 months in my womb, and gave thee such 3 years, and nourished thee, and brought thee up unto this age, and endured the troubles of education. I beseech thee, my son, look upon the heaven and the earth and all that is therein, and consider that Yahweh made them of things that were not, and so was mankind made likewise. Fear not this tormentor, but being worthy of thy brethren, take thy death, that I may receive thee again in mercy with thy brethren. While she was yet speaking these words, the young man said, Whom wait for? Whom wait ye for? I will not obey the king's commandments, but I will obey the commandment of the law that was given unto our fathers by Moses. And thou that hast been the author of all mischief against the Hebrews shall not escape the hands of Yahweh. But we suffer because of our sins. And though the living Lord be angry with us a little while for our chastening and correction, ye shall he be at one again, while his servants. But thou, O godless man, and of all other most wicked, be not lifted up without a cause, nor puffed up with uncertain hopes. Lifted up thy hand against the servants of Yahweh, for thou hast not yet escaped the judgment of the Almighty Power, who seeth all things. For our brethren who now have suffered a short pain are dead under Yahweh's covenant of everlasting life. But thou, through the judgment of Yahweh, shall receive just punishment for thy pride. But I, as my brethren, offer up my body and life for the laws of our fathers, beseeching Yahweh that he would speedily be merciful unto our nation, and that thou by torments and plagues mayest confess that he alone is our power, and that in me and my brethren and the wrath of the Almighty, which is justly brought upon our nation, may cease. Then the king, being in a rage, handed him worse than all the rest, and took it grievously that he was mocked. So this man died undefiled, and put his whole trust in the Lord. Last of all, after the sons, the mother died. Let this be enough now to have spoken concerning the idolatrous feasts and the extreme tortures. Wow. 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 Let that breathe. Let that minister to your spirit what we went through. Let that minister to your spirit, man. Let the accounts of our suffering, let the accounts of what we will go through coming up in the time of Jacob's trouble, man. This is serious, man. This is serious. This is not no joke. All right? Yeah, this is serious, man. So with that, I like to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. I like to say double honors unto the elders and elder apostles of GMS that rule well and that teach well, and to the brothers on the four corners of the earth doing this work in truth and in sincerity. Only the elect, only the 1/3, and a few sisters. Shalom, till next time. Kwam Yasharallah, and Abad Babal to this wicked, sinful kingdom.